Welcome back, everyone, to NeuroAlchemy, the brain body healing podcast where science meets soul, and where healing is explored as a multidimensional, nonlinear journey. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Young. Before we begin, I want to name one of the core values of this space. Here on NeuroAlchemy, we define every term as if you're hearing it for the very first time, not because you don't know what it is, but because clarity creates safety and that opens the door for deeper insight, better choices, and more healing. We slow these conversations down on purpose. We honor complexity without overwhelm, and we center the lived human experience alongside the science. Today's conversation explores spirituality, parenting in an artificial age, authenticity, and what it means to cultivate inner alignment before trying to shape outer behavior. As always, you're invited to listen gently, pause when you need to. Nothing in this space is about force or perfection. Everyone, take a breath. You don't have to decide anything today. Today, I'm joined by Phil Kobald. He is so wonderful, you guys. I have had the pleasure of being on his podcast, the Holistic Circle platform. He's the author of Spiritual Parenting, and his work centers on helping parents raise children who stay real in an increasingly artificial world. Beginning with one essential premise, spirituality starts within. So, welcome to NeuroAlchemy.
Hello and welcome, Sarah. It's wonderful to be the other way around. And I love your calm and quiet voice. So I think I also be learning something today about a more calm podcasting that my style is. That is so beautiful to be on your show. As
It's
you
so
said before, I'm now the hot seat today. You are in the comfortable position of the interviewer. So it's my time to be on the hot seat. And I'm really looking forward because this is my actually the first podcast that I really am time to this brand new book to present it. So I'm excited because I'm going to be stumbling through my notes. If this is the 50th podcast, I know exactly what to say and when to say it. So I'm quite excited because I know I'm going to get it wrong.
Well, I think that's wonderful. I think that's the nature of lived human experience is that we're all doing the best we can. We're going to stumble, we're going to get it wrong. And that's not what's important, right? It's just that we take that next step. We keep putting ourselves forward. So thank you for being here. We're so happy to have you in this space. Before we dive in, I like to start with just a gentle check-in. How are you arriving today specifically? Maybe it's physically or emotionally or mentally or even spiritually. How are you doing today?
I think I'm doing great. Thank you for asking me. I guess I'm fine. These days it's hard to be fine with all the things that are going on in the world. I mean, and got friends everywhere. I'm in Europe situated, and but I've got friends all around the world. And when your own friends sitting in the bunker with their child and their dog, and you're just texting back and forward, how are you? Of course, it bothers people, but that's life. And I guess what can I tell you?
Right, right. And, I'm just so grateful that you, despite, I think it's so important for you, for me, for all of us, especially when the world is an increasingly dark place is to bring ourselves forward in the light that we are, to be something that shines that light into the world. And that is something that we can do. That is a way that we can show up. And that's exactly what you're doing. So thank you for contributing to bringing your presence of light into the world. And for everyone out there listening, I just want to remind you that there's no right way to arrive here, right? So, however you're showing up right now in this moment in time, wherever you are in space, is totally enough. Phil, before we explore parenting, I'd love to just ground a few ideas in simple everyday language. So let's begin here. When you say the word, spirituality, what does that actually mean in real life rather than philosophically, but practically?
Well, everybody has his own definition, and that's the beauty about it. As you know, I podcast about spirituality, so it's my day-to-day business to talk about it, think about it. But for me, I long came to the conclusion, and it's maybe one of the reasons I wrote the book by the end of the day, is that spirituality has a lot to do with a certain sacred form of search. It seems to be embedded with us humans to ask questions, to go over the hill and look what's on the next side, or look to the stars, or look within, or but it's a sacred search that for me, defines spirituality, and it gives you also the answers to practical things. Everything can be a spiritual activity, almost everything, when it's done with a certain mindset, a certain consciousness, a certain awareness. When you do it in that spiritual space, then carpentry or whatever, cooking, anything can become a spiritual activity if the mindset is going along. And that's how far I came with my explanation of the world and the universe. That's the best I can give you.
And how would you personally distinguish between spirituality from religion?
That's there we go. This is the main topic of my podcast. Thank you so much for asking me. That's very kind. Do we have 5 hours, or how much time we've got? Because that's what I'm crazy about, to work that out. And you know what? I finding answers, and fast as I find them, as fast as they slip through my fingers. The last 2 years podcasting, I have like 120 answers to this question, and I more and more think, I hope I'll never find it.
What does it mean when you say spirituality starts in you?
That's just that search, right? Some people of us have it stronger, that need, that search, that lurking, that wanting to know, this curiosity towards the world and the universe and to which in. Some of us have it very strong. Some of us have other things in their life going on, and they maybe focus on their family or on their job or whatever. But I've just noticed that there are some people who just keep, usually very early on in life, it's starting with these people, that they have these questions, that they read books way above their age. And I'm definitely one of this kind who started. I actually had my first I'm teaching more than 30 years meditation, and I had my first group when I was 17 and a half. I
Wow.
was already teaching people because I was advanced enough to have people who are like 30 years, 40 years old coming to me to learn meditation. And I've taught and taught ever since. So I think some people are just more connected, and I'm a businessman, I'm so many things, but I keep teaching meditation. I keep doing this spiritual search and this interest. And fun fact is, wherever I go in the world, if it's the jungle of Sri Lanka, or whatever it is, I've been quite a lot around. Magically, I meet people who are fellow travelers who also have the same spiritual. It's just in a huge airport with 1,000 people. I bump into the person that is academic who research old ancient cults, and I bump into the person. I'm so sorry, and where you're going, well, I'm going. I talk to everyone. Turns out that he's a researcher, and then this, and the whole conversation starting in the airport with the luggage and everything half falling around. And that's been my life ever since, that I meet people who are into spirituality every which way, and they meet me, and we obviously have this thing. So I don't know if that's an answer for you, but I've noticed this also with my guests, that I had a couple of guests were exactly like that. Wherever they go, whatever they do, and even if they want to block it, even if they want to have nothing to do with it, they just
Mhm.
can't help it. They meet holy man, they meet spiritual people, and it's just a thing for some people. I don't know why.
There's no wrong answers on neuroalchemy, from the way that we see it. We're all our own kaleidoscope, Phil. We all have our own perceptions, understandings, experiences. We're all unique in that way, right? What is authenticity in the context of children and parenting?
Authenticity. Oh, that's an important one, I guess. And it's exactly one of the key elements, that the book has a couple of key issues I'm going through. First of all, it's still a confusing title. Everybody tells me, oh, it's the worst title ever. So that's the number one. That is the feedback I'm getting from everyone. Great book, horrible title. So that's because people think, oh, you're talking about Christian values. And no, it's more neutral. And then you talk about this. No, it's so everybody has this, because the problem is everybody has his own definition of spirituality. that's the problem with this title. So it's the worst title ever because everybody reads the title spirituality and then they put their own story into it and then parenting. And then people like, okay, yes, let's talk about Christian values. Great. Let's buy the book. And then this book is not against any Christian values, but it's basically not necessarily 100% Christian value parenting guidebook, right? So this is just but it's 100% could be. I mean, it's nothing inside. There's not a word in the book that would anyone with a strong Christian value would say, "Oh, I can't read the book." But the phrasing, the framing, the way you use the wording, that's clearly different than you would expect. It's definitely the title that is a problem. But if people accidentally buy the book, I don't mind anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that kinda goes right along with what I was just saying about that kaleidoscope, how we all kind of view lots of things through our own individual lenses, right? And you're one of those people that you're constantly shifting your lens and you're always trying to move that and see things from a wider perspective or a deeper perspective, right? So, I think
I
it's
didn't answer your
interesting.
question, by the way. It was about authenticity.
Go for it.
I just gave a pretext, but you wanted me to talk about authenticity.
Whatever
Nice.
you want. Go
No,
for it.
I'm a good guy. I mean, you tell me a question, I answer it.
Yes.
I'm an A student, if I get a question, I need to answer it. It's just you hear it. Authenticity is the key. But that's why I needed to a little bit explain the title story because authenticity is definitely one of the things that's hard to achieve these days. Because we are such a multiverse and multi realities. There are a lot of people who are super grounded. They know who they are. They know what they do, and of course, they will have full authenticity as parents because they're settled, they're grounded, they're done. But a lot of us these days are a bit of a shifter, right? This whole world is a little bit of a spiraling and spinning, and we got a lot of stuff to deal with, and it's pushed also on us. There's a lot of people who are into therapies and this and exploring. So there's a lot of shifting. It's not these strong, clear characters that we would expect from the past to have seen more often when people had a limited choice to do this inner work. So that is an issue in parenting because kids would actually like us to be strong leaders, to have a clear communication, not leaders in term clean the room, but moral leaders and personal leaders, like strong to be a person that has values, that has a stance, and these are my values today, these are my values tomorrow. That's something that actually children do reflect on positively a lot. That's it.
When you refer to an artificial age, what are you pointing to?
Well, of course, that's obvious that I don't know how it is in the US versus Europe, but where we are here right now, it's basically war zone, right? Kids and phones, and it's going crazy, and AI and all of it. It's just completely difficult. It just gets another level of complexity. So in this book, there's a short chapter where I'm a little bit looking into the situation, but I don't want to bother people too much. Everybody knows. I just want to look ahead, what to do about it. And so basically, I talk a lot about that when things get more crazy, we have to get more real. It's a counterweight. It's not like being against or it's bad or I don't judge. I use a lot of artificial intelligence. I mean, I do even programming at some little company of mine. So I do a lot of things. It's not that I'm against it, but I understand if kids generally spend more time on the phones, then we as parents, I think, have to make a plan and counterweight to bring them to nature, to expose them to movement, more organized way, which is, I know some people think it should come natural. Kids, yeah, and it would be great when kids would just run outside and be in the forest and do their thing all by themselves. That would be fantastic. But the truth is, most of us live in cities and this and that. So we have to a little bit step up and be consciously aware that there has to be balance. I know I'm a great fan about balance. All my teachings are about balance. Yeah, I this is a basically should be balanced parenting. Maybe would have been much better title for the book because that's exactly what I am completely obsessed about. How one can try to find better balance in life.
Let's talk about your book, Spiritual Parenting. What inspired you to write it?
I really had a deep need, but I'm not sure that I know why. Right? I don't have such a like that message that I cannot live without telling the world, but I knew I need to write the book. I don't know if that makes sense for people, you know? So a lot of people have like, I've got to say this, I want to say this to the world, and then I gotta write the book and now I made my point. I didn't have that feeling, but the desire to write the book was really, really strong. I sat in the middle of summer and said, I'm gonna write the book now. And they were like, really? I said, yeah, gotta write this book. And and I wrote the book fairly quick, fairly quick. It was surprising. It just came out of me really easy, really, really fast. The editing, this was a pain in the butt that I could live without. This took me, I thought I was gonna do it like 2 months and the editing is done. Whoa. If you wanna be somehow serious with your editing, it takes real time to do it right and to do it professional. So that took longer and longer. So in the end, I just published very shortly before Christmas. And honestly, after that, it was published. This is now I'm starting to talk about it. I'm going to a lot of podcasts now and doing all that stuff. But I needed like almost 2 months to basically not even look at the book. So it's actually the first time since I published it that I actually really start talking about the book because I really needed a space.
That's fair. Absolutely. When you say parenting must begin inwardly, what does that look like inside a parent's nervous system?
Well, there you the expert. I better ask you. I'm not sure that I have a smart answer to that question. Honestly, I don't know. You tell me. Sounds interesting.
Oh my goodness. I think that if I were a fly on Phil's wall, I might say that it's extremely important for parents to be balanced in their nervous system and come to things from a place of calm, because the way that we interact with our children is how they develop their nervous systems, right? So if we're parenting from a place of everything's on fire, that child's nervous system is going to grow up feeling like everything's always on fire. So for me, I think if I'm a fly on Bill's wall, because I know you a little bit now, right? I think what you mean is like you should be from a place of balance, right? Like just what you were saying about balanced parenting. Does that sound similar to what you were thinking?
I have a couple of chapters. One is called Imprints, and I'm sure you studied psychology, so you know what I'm talking about and how important imprints are. And we always look at like physical imprints, verbal imprints, environmental imprints, emotional imprints, cognitive imprints, and cultural imprints. But we never look at us as an imprint, the parent. That's so funny. And even if you go to literature, they accept that there is physical and genetical and all the kind of things, but basically the parents as an imprint that's somehow kind of like overlooked in my personal opinion. So I do take great interest in that. What we say, mixed messages, is another one. So imprinting is one element. Also, I'm totally into mixed messages. We say a lot of things to kids because we think we should say it, but then life, we live it a different way, or we push life like, be good, be kind, but you gotta win this race. It's just mixed messages and we laugh about it, but there's actually a lot going on in that regard. And it's confusing kids a lot
Yeah,
because they don't take us as honest, they don't take us as sincere. So I think there's a certain amount. Can I use the word bullshit? Is that okay? There is a certain amount the kids can take healthy, but then things get out of control. And if you look at like the doctor who's smoking and telling us you gotta go and diet, you gotta smoke, stop smoking and this and that, live healthy, and he's taking one after the other. We're like, you know, I'm not going to listen to you guys. I mean, and there's a lot of this going on, and the world is complicated, and we're trying to run away from it. And this world is unfair. There's poor and there's rich, and there is beautiful and ugly, and there are so many of these things that we, as grown-ups, also maybe don't want to confront ourselves with. And so we're going into the stereotypes. We're going into all of these banalities, and children catch up real quick that they cannot just truly trust our value system, trust our statements, and then we try to wing it and make it along as we go. Is that something that you can resonate with?
absolutely. I think it's extremely important to live in integrity and authenticity, and I think that it's a matter of being in the world that we're all kind of programmed, if you will, to think a certain way, to think These are the things that you're supposed to do. And I think many, many times in the world, people are just living on autopilot, Bill. They don't even have the awareness of the actions that they're, you know, going through, the decisions that they're making. They're so automatic. They're living from that automatic place that they're not stopping and having that awareness. And I feel like, integrity and authenticity, which is exactly what I hear you talking about. They begin with that place of awareness because if you don't have that place of awareness, I don't know where your foundation is, right?
And that's actually how the book is built. This first big half of the book is basically a huge fist into the face of the parents. And I even make fun about it, but I'm a funny guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm kind of like, bad cop, good cop in the same, but I really try to a little bit push the parents and confront them and say, you were guilty, right? For a lot. And as I really push them and I go through these things about time management, what you invest, I talk about how you build a house, right? You can give everything away to a contractor and you get what you get, or you can be, hands on deck and you can make sure and you can be part of the process. First of all, the house will look much more like you actually want it. And most likely the quality of every little piece will be a lot better if you're involved. And so I talk a lot about tutoring, for example. So it's okay if you don't know math, it's all right to hire a math tutor. That's okay. But if you're after the class, don't ask your kid, hey, what happened there? What he taught you? And even if it's just a small conversation, so kids know that you care, you should never outsource. So don't like outsourcing with kids. It's okay to take help if you need it, but you have to be involved. You have to have hands on decks. So my standards basically are pretty high, maybe too high in a way. But if this is the first half of the book, take parents in a shock treatment to all of these things, because exactly as you said, I imagine that most of my readers are running on autopilot, that they want to do good, that they are good people. That's why they take the book. I mean, if you buy Spiritual Parenting, you're a good person. I mean, by the end of the day. So you want to do the best, but you're running on autopilot, you're stressed and you got to make money and I'm aware of it and you got to work extra hours and life is a mess and that's all okay. But you read this book and you get a little bit punch in the face in a nice way, in a good way, in an understanding way that your life is complicated. I'm never guilting anybody or any of this. I don't put pressure in any kind of a way, but we gotta sometimes look hard in the mirror and say, it's part is on me. And can I do a little bit better? Can I tweak it? Wow, that's amazing. If you can, I think I repeat this 5 or 6 times in the book, or a little good can erase a lot of evil. And I truly believe that the smallest amount of improvement is just, a blessing.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember also that at the end of the day, and this is coming from a spiritual perspective, but we're all doing the best we can with what we have and what we know. And if we could do better than we are in each and every moment, we will or we would, right? And knowledge is power. So what I hear you saying is that yes, we maybe made some mistakes, guys, but guess what? Now's the time where we can come forward and now you can learn a new thing. And because you're learning a new thing, you can make a new choice. So, what I hear you offering is an invitation.
For sure. And I think it's unusual to have a parenting book where, like, really most of the time talk about the parents and at all not about the kids. The first half of the book, the kids are just not a part of it. I just look at the people that dealing with the kids, the guardians of the kids, our responsibilities, our approach, and there are so many things going on that I personally don't agree. But it is a book of shaking you, not a book of shaming or none of this or pressuring. It's a book of a sincere shake, not because, and I'm saying this throughout the book. I mean, it's me, I'm making fans all the time. I'm a funny guy. I hope, but I'm definitely don't take myself too serious. So I'm never saying in the book that I have it all nailed or I do it all right or none of this stuff. That's not that kind of a book. It's also more like shaking myself. I'm shaking myself with these chapters and I'm far, far from good. But I want to be, and for anybody who want to be, I think it's a good book to start to go through these questions, to go through the shaking, to ask this question. Some will resonate, some will not. but ultimately, and it's about spirituality. And that's another thing, is because it's not a parenting guide. It's not. That's why the book is called Spiritual Parenting. The whole question of the book is, if I cherish and love spirituality and I want to bring the foundation to the next generation so they might also have a more spiritual life, are the conditions I should set to make this spirituality grow within my children. This is the book. So it's not a parenting guide. I want to be very clear because people might get confused from what I said now. This is really about looking at the conditions, the foundation of spirituality. And what I imagine, I might be right, I might be wrong. This is my point of view. What one as a parent should do if one loves spirituality, so the kids also have a chance to let it grow within them.
And how do you see a parent's inner alignment influencing their children's development?
You talk about spirituality or as a children as a self? It's a parenting question or it's a spiritual question,
It's both.
right? With spirituality, I know, that this is the book I wrote. For parenting, I'm not sure what to answer. I have a simple formula. I don't know if this answers your questions, but it's a very simple formula, and that's curiosity. That's for me the key. That's, let's say, that the secret sauce in the book. That's curiosity. And these questions we talked about. I said at the beginning, the spirituality for me is, there are some people ask these questions, they want to know and they want to have this sacred search. So this is basically all coming from that thought. So if I know that it would be great if my daughter would have that sacred search, the sacred inside of her. So what would I need to do? Which conditions would I need to bring? What do I need to bring to the table to make this more likely? And that's all there is.
Raising children in a world that's shaped by technology, algorithms, and performance culture. From your perspective, what are the greatest risks to authenticity today?
Well, everything, I guess, because it's not having friends to play with, not having unstructured time, not having enough motivation to exceed. It's just everything. Because I think kids should get A grades, and you should push them as hell to get like fantastic grades, and just don't be happy with anything less. But you should also give them time to be free and do mistakes, and it's just a crazy balance, but you have to want the best possible for your kids. I'm not one of these modern parents that thinks, you should get a participation medal, that I'm 100% not, but I don't need my kid to get a medal, but I don't want her to get a participation medal. I don't know if these people can understand the distinction. Not because she's a loser if she doesn't win, but I think in life, I mean, I'm a businessman. You have to excuse myself. Founded so many companies and I did a lot in life, and I know nothing of it ever went easy. Nothing of it ever came kind. So I have to use elbow. I actually founded my first company with my own money that I made already from working with a couple of weeks before turning 18. So on the first lease in my first business, my mother actually had to sign the lease because I was legally not able to sign the lease, although it was financed with their own money that I made from starting working at 17 besides studying. So I finished 2 academies while building several companies already at the same time. I'm just saying, and all of this came from my own money that I earned already at that time. Just to understand that my mindset is definitely about achieving things and doing things, but I don't mind to fail. I mind not to try.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. You're saying that everything that you have done was because you worked for it and you earned it. And that's the way the real world is, right? So if we're raising children to believe that they don't need to do that, they get the reward anyway, then how are they going to learn how to get those rewards that are more important when they're older? How can parents help children stay grounded in who they are rather than who the
That's
world
the whole second
expects?
part of the book. But let me first make an exclaimer. Yes, I started working very young. I am a self made person, but I'm coming from a quite well background. Just so everybody think, oh, he did it all by himself. Yes, I did it all by myself, but I had such a huge background that it would have been almost impossible not to make it. just so people understand, because I love a good underdog story, but just it's not mine. Anyway, so the second half of the book, staying grounded, then the real practical tips. So that the book shifts very radical from looking at the parents and looking at them and shaking them up and all of these things. It really completely turns around and look at the children. And then the tone of the book and even the structure of the books change completely into very practical, hands-on advice. No more philosophizing, no more talking around. It's just small little actions that help. And it's just one after the other. It's going through this second part of the book. It's just one little idea after the other. And it looks at nature, things one can do. And it's just exemplary so people understand the methodology. I try to establish a methodology in the second part of the book, how to upscale the moment and intensify the moment. And I don't say you should do this all the time. I don't say this is, what I do every day of the week, but I try to do it as often as possible. And one of the examples I give with nature is you can go for a walk and it's nice and you go through the field, it's beautiful. And you can, look at flowers. Why would you not? And you can ask the kid, do you know the name of the flower or not? Yeah, it's already an upscale. But then you can also pick a flower and say, oh, let's make a nice bouquet and bring it home to the mother. It's another upscale. But then also you can smell at the flowers and you can just talk. How does it smell to you? How you like it? And you can put a sensory element with it and you have another upscale. And then if you're coming home, you can just close the kid's eyes and say, do you remember which flower smells which? Boom. Now we're really upscaling a lot. And this is this idea of intensifying the moment, making something out of it, creating a story in this particular moment, and to have sensory, have smell, have touch, have memory, all of these things activated. This is basically a big part on the second part of the book.
Many parenting models focus on behavior correction, but you are suggesting something different. What shifts when a parent begins with inner awareness instead of that external control?
But first, let me tell you, the reason is it's not a parenting book. That's why that is not in the book. If I would write a parenting book, I would have to look at behavior correction model if I want or not. I would have to do it, right? But this is just a book about spirituality. Luckily, I can stay far away of parenting guide and behavior control. Whoa, I have a lot to say about it, but that's not the book I wrote. It's about spirituality and how to ground this within people. So just to make this clear why, this is the focus. But people get confused because with parenting, we always want to know what to do about screen time and what about doing all of these things. And I talk a little bit about screen time, but more like a joke. So sorry, come again, please. I lost you there now.
You lost me.
Happened. I
Children learn
I think it was
more.
values. It was about values, I think.
Do you want me to repeat it?
Yeah, if you can.
Sure. So I was just saying, what shifts when a parent begins with inner awareness?
Everything, because we talked about imprints. So we're coming back to the imprint conversation. That's where the inner awareness, this is where when you are observing yourself and you're a little bit understanding your own imprints, like when you are a person all over the place and you're a little bit hectic, you're coming a little bit late to every appointment and this and that, and then you go in your kid's room, it's messy. Well, look in the mirror. And this is where the inner awareness starts to play place. It doesn't mean like, okay, I'm a mess, so my kid is a mess. That's not what I say. I'm very precise about that. But you cannot go into the room, again, the doctor with the cigarette, cannot be a mess yourself and then run into your room and scream at your kids that they need to clean up. This is just not right. It's not fair. It's not correct. You have to have integrity. So you got to look in the mirror and you got to understand you're a mess. Okay. So that's why. So let's work on this honestly. Of course, my kids' room have to be cleaned up, but I also have to see how to communicate, how to help her. I have to work on strategies to make that happen. Just going in and shouting is not going to solve the trick because it looks at me. I'm the person the kids turn to, and that is a big part of the first part of the book where I explain to people over and over again. You are the model. They copy you, and that is like a really long chapter where I keep explaining people through nature and through so many things that kids only learn by copying and not by talking and not none of these things. Copying and imprinting, this is how our kids learn. That's how nature's smartest trick, and that's how nature works. And if we showing a kid a mess, that is what they will copy.
And this next thing is exactly piggybacking off of what you just said. So children learn more from what we embody than by what we say. So, what do you believe parents most underestimate about their modeling?
Thank you. I can see we're already coming slowly towards the end, and I've even like halfway through my cards. So this was a great question to bring a one of my key points actually now to the table, because I'm a little bit of a fanatic of something called life energy. That's a big portion of the book, and it's really important to me. And for some people, it's a new concept. Some people understand what I talk about, but I'm trying to explain it nicely that there's a lot of activities that we do that drain our energy, and there's a lot of activities we do that fill us back up. So this balance thing about life energy, this is maybe the most important thing to me that I'm trying to introduce to people. People check how much water they drink, people check their sleep cycle, but you know how, I mean, you know that how little people actually check their energy in and outflow on daily basis. I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about,
Mhm.
but it's fascinating how many people are really measuring their vitamins and nutritions, and God knows what these people do, but they never really look at their energy balance on a day-to-day basis. Have I done enough to fill up what I've lost? And so many people don't even know what drains energy. That's an interesting one. So many people not aware of all the things that can drain energy and how to identify what actually sucks me dry. And this is like a long list. It can be even friends, family, it can be loved ones, it can be so many good things that you would consider, but at the wrong setting in the wrong way, it can also drain you. Of course, alcoholism and so many other things. And then people sometimes don't really anymore know what fills them up. They have lost this connection to being filled back up, laughing, having friends over, cooking together, barbecue, I know, walk in the park, so many things, reading a book, whatever it is. There are so many simple things that fill you back up. And this is a key information. If you don't value, if you don't have a real clear understanding of your life energy, it's not looking good for the kids. Because if you not as a role model express that you even, and you can say to your kid, listen, I worked the whole day, I'm tired now, I know you want to play, but I need 15 minutes for myself. I need my quiet, and then we will play together. The kids need to learn and need to understand that you take it very important that your life balance is good at the end of every day, that you have been laughing. And I don't know this, but in Dutch, for example, in Europe, all the parents every day before going to night the kids, they ask the kids, have you been laughing enough today? Did you had a good friendship moment? So they really check on these kids. Did you do enough to fill your balance, fill your life energy back up? And to me, this is the maybe most important part of being a role model to my daughter. I hope that she sees that I really want at the end of the day to have a good balance.
And I think that you're modeling that in everyday life with her based on what you're saying, right? You are taking
Sometimes.
the opportunity, and we're not perfect. We said that earlier, right? So it's all about intention. And what I'm hearing you say is it is your intention to always be very with the spiritual modeling that she sees in everyday life so that she too can develop in a way that is nourishing and healthy for her throughout her life. And I love that you're sharing that with us. You've said spirituality begins within. For parents listening who feel overwhelmed or discouraged, where should they begin?
Laughing, dancing, having friends over and bitching about their own children. We just have to be human again. And this just allowing ourselves to be human and just don't make lists. I had to do this book would be horrible to say, I got to do this at the chapter 2 and chapter 3. Come on, everybody. This is not how it works. It's having, as you said, the intention, if your motivation is good and honest, but we are a mess and we have to get ready. We have to get better and we will not change overnight. We will not overcome our childhood drama overnight. None of this is going to happen. But if we are not constantly looking in the mirror for the sake of our children, and if we are trying to be honest and if we're trying to be balanced, again, for the sake of our children, being a model, being a good as we can at this given moment role model, and, also being able to apologize. And if we're in a complete mess and we can't handle it, kids can take a lot if we're honest with them. If we, kids can take a lot. Maybe it's not the best environment to grow up when the parents is a mess. Of course, we all agree. But at least if the parents is not getting angry or aggressive or expresses the frustration of his being incapable of doing it better, that already would be a big step forward. At least if one can be honest, that's one of the ideas I might have.
And this next question, I think you just answered it a little bit, but you might want to expand on it a bit. So I know you said being honest. What other small shifts create meaningful ripple effects?
For me, it's community, but this is personal. I think every person has it. This is very personal. I say it specifically, but this is very personal. For me, it's having friends over, cooking for them, and involving my kid with it in the preparation and setting the table. For me, being social is something that really matters a lot. That you take the effort, you clean the house, you set everything up, and you cook nice and you dress up, and then friends are coming. And this is not for everyone. This is not everybody has that culture. Not everybody has it. For me, this is a key. But you know, this is very personal, I think.
Is there anything else that you haven't yet shared about your book specifically before we move into our micro practice invitation?
No, it's the first time I talk about the book in 2 months, so I'm amazed I got out that much. And your questions were so helpful and great. And I hope I managed to get the point across why somebody should buy it and for which is it. I specifically say hello the book to grandparents, nannies, parents, everyone involved who cares for the spiritual path of this person, this young to grow to be person and wants to just do a little bit of help in the background to get a little bit of a better chance that the child will become a spiritual aware person. So that's what it is. And it will never will be a perfect menu, but it is a heartfelt book, I hope, that will give some guidance to anyone who cares about spirituality.
I'm grateful that you said that too, even though your book is titled Spiritual Parenting. It does take a village. And a lot of times, the people who influence the development of children the most are maybe not even within that household, right? So I think it is an invitation for neighbors, for teachers, right? For anyone that has a child in their life to maybe pick up his book and see what you can get. It sounds like there's some really great gems in there. And Phil's going to send me over the link to where you can purchase that. So that will be available in the show notes. Phil, we always like to end with a listener micro practice invitation. So, if there's one gentle reflection or practice that you would like to invite parents or listeners to explore every day this week, what would you recommend?
Well, we talked about it. I wanted to bring something from the many, many practical things of the book, but they're all usually in real world. They're in nature or things like that. So I was a bit 4 days thinking before the podcast, can I come up with something? But then in the end, I didn't manage it. But I, as you know, teach more than 30 years of meditation. And there's a lot of preparational exercises that goes along with meditation. And I'm a big buck about technicalities with meditation and especially preparation exercises. I love them a lot. And these are simple things that everybody can do. And they don't need to meditate necessarily. They can just exercises themselves are from high value. I do this one on one with people online. So basically, I thought I'll take one of my favorite exercises. Maybe a lot of people know it or think they know it, but I hope I can bring a bit of a new angle, and the couple of minutes that we have left, I hope to get it across. So it's a breathing exercise. So anybody who wants to join in right now, they can definitely do it or just listen to it. Whoa, we've lost the video. Hang on 1 second. Should I do this again?
No.
I can rewind and say with the breathing exercise if you feel like,
Well, I think you can
as you
just
wish.
go ahead. Yeah, just go ahead.
All right. So this is a short breathing exercise. Everybody who feels like coming along, I just said it, but I'll repeat it again nicely. Or you can just listen to it. And even if you've done a lot of breathing practice and you've been through a lot of it, I think we all agree we can always learn something more and go deeper with breathing. It's from a great beginner exercise to a master's exercise when we talk specifically about meditation. And this specific exercise I love to do when I'm walking through the park. Even when I go jogging, it's quite hard to do it while jogging, but for me, it's great. And today we will just introduce it. But if you want to do it during the week, you can, and you get a bit more better in it. It would be amazing if it starts building a rhythm and you do these exercises quite rhythmically. That gives an extra effect. So here we go. It's a inhale, exhale exercise, but with a quick stop after we inhale and a quick stop after we exhale. A lot of people know it, but wait on, it's going to get a bit more interesting. But first, I have to explain how we do it. So we inhale, preferably through our nose, and I'm counting to 1, 2, 3. So that goes to inhale, 1, 2, 3. We're inhaling. Then we're holding this air within ourselves. Again, we're counting 1, 2, 3 in our head. So it goes inhale, hold, 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Also, we're counting 1, 2, 3. And then we're keeping an emptiness inside ourselves. And we're again counting to 3. So let's do this basic setting and then we'll make it a lot more interesting, I promise. So we inhale, we hold the air, we exhale, we keep it empty. We inhale, we hold the air, exhale, we keep it empty. All right, everybody understood the principles. Now let's make this interesting. This exercise now we will try to, while we inhale, really think we're taking in light or like fresh water. We're visualizing sparkle, we speak light. So we're taking all the good from the universe inside ourselves and then we're holding it in us. And then when we exhale, we really visualize like a darkness or a blue sea, whatever is not threatening to you, to feel this cold emptiness. And we just let go. It's important to not be afraid of these thoughts. It's a deep letting go that empties everything. So we will try this exercise again by really visualizing the light that we inhale now, and we're holding this wonderful light that's all buzzing around us. And we exhale. It's blue, dark blue. It's a soft black. It's not threatening, but it's a total emptiness. And we're leaving us completely empty. And then we inhale again, feeling this light and the warmth. And we exhale. That stillness, that calm. And again, okay, it's a demonstration. Now we're going one step higher. You have to practice at home. We cannot now do this. We only have a couple of minutes. But this is where this exercise becomes incredibly interesting and valuable, actually, because now we're really, really trying to make a very strong shift in our mind. And this moment of inhale really is like an explosion. Like we're really taking this life into ourselves and we're holding it. And again, we're making a very strong and conscious shift to let it all out, all the thoughts, all the heaviness, everything. We're finding this calmness, we're just letting it out. The importance is to have this mental, very much yin yang kind of a concept, that we really develop a different attitude towards those two, the full and the empty. So let's try this again, the holding. This is an exercise that needs a little bit of a practice. But once you do it, you find your own sweet spot. You can count to 3, you can count to 4. You should find your comfortable position. And as I said, you can do this sitting and you can do it for 5, 10 minutes. or you can walk in the park, or you can even run if you want to do it, and try to feel this fullness, this life, and this calm of emptiness, and try to learn that switch between those two qualities and observe these qualities. Last step, once you have practiced this, maybe until Wednesday or so, when you're getting a bit better, observe yourself when you inhale. Do you feel some pressure? Do you feel something pumping? Is what is, so to say, what is the reality that happens through this a lot of energy? And when you exhale, observe yourself. Do you feel sad? Is there certain emotions coming up, certain visuals rising? Do you feel cold all of a sudden? It's a beautiful exercise to create it's a beautiful exercise to activate and transition energy. And it's one of my favorite breathing exercises.
Thank you. That was really, really beautiful. That was very powerful. Um, and I'm going to ask him to send me a written copy of that so that it's available in the show notes as well. As we close, what do you most hope listeners remember about themselves as parents?
Just stay social, have friends, do real world things as much as you can. Go in the world, go to museums, go to art, whatever works for you. Make a puzzle. We just finished a 5,000-piece puzzle on our living room floor. Took us a month and a half. It was a mess. Just as much as real world things you can give this next generation, every little drop of real, I think, is going to massively matter for the times to come.
Phil, thank you for bringing your perspective and your presence into this space. To our listeners, thank you for being here. And if something in today's conversation resonated with you, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing to this show. That's how these conversations travel, and that's how people who need to hear them get to hear them. Until next time, this is Dr. Sarah Young, and this is NeuroAlchemy. You are not broken, you are becoming. Bye for now.